No retconning. That is one of the rules screenwriter David Koepp has for Jurassic World Rebirth. He has 9 in total, which he calls the 9 commandments. While we wait for that first trailer or teaser, let's dive into the commandments that could make Jurassic World Rebirth the best possible start to the new era. Unfortunately, one of his commandments makes me worried. Last week, David Koepp did an interview with The Discourse about his return to the Jurassic franchise as the screenwriter for Jurassic World Rebirth, after having of course written the first 2 entries in the franchise. One almost universally beloved, and the other more polarizing.
School cut you from the team?
So his return as screenwriter does not spark confidence in all Jurassic fans, but it does for me. In the interview, Koepp mirrored the same sentiment we've seen Gareth Edwards, the director, say many times in interviews, that Jurassic World Rebirth will be more akin in tone to the original Jurassic Park. He also says the following.
I was interested, Steven and I were interested in a tone maybe more akin to the very first movie. I saw it early on as a mission movie.
Oh.
I like things that are driven by bottles, by containment, you know. Developing a limited team and a thing that they have to accomplish, that was all really fun. And it was just fun to go back into that world of great adventure backed by real science and write some cool new characters. I was very happy to you don't often get a chance to just have a blank slate and say, what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You know, there were no franchise expectations other than dinosaurs.
In the interview, he went on to say he has 9 commandments for the franchise moving forward. 9 rules it has to abide by, inspired by Chuck Jones' 9 commandments for the Roadrunner cartoons. Unfortunately, David Koepp didn't give us the full list of 9 commandments. That would probably be a spoiler anyway. He only listed 3 in the interview. I will of course share the ones he talked about, and then I want to fill in the blanks on the other 6. The other 6 rules I think or hope the future of the franchise lives by. As already shared at the very start of this video, the first rule is no retconning. He said,
so I made a list of things that we had to abide by, and one was the events of the previous 6 movies cannot be contradicted or denied. You know, because you don't like a retcon, those are no fun.
The Jurassic lore is pretty messy, but that's a touchy subject that I don't want to get into too much. But the franchise hasn't been a stranger to retcons in the past. Heck, Michael Crichton himself started it by killing off Ian Malcolm in the first book, but then for his sequel novel to be like, psych, he's alive. And probably the most infamous retcon in the franchise is the location of the Mosasaurus Lagoon on Nublar. Retcons typically don't bother me too much, especially if they're subtle, but it's good to know David Koepp has a rule against them. The second commandment is the one that worries me if we take it at face value.
Humor is oxygen.
His second commandment is humor is oxygen. Humor is a welcome aspect to a blockbuster, and the original Jurassic Park has several comedic bits.
Dodgson! Dodgson! We've got Dodgson here! See, nobody cares.
That is one big pile of shit.
Look, we'll have landed by the time you get it right. Come along.
Finally.
And then my teacher told me about this other book by a guy named Backer, and he...
And the same goes for The Lost World, the other entry in the franchise he has written. Even his own death has a bit of a comedic tone to it.
You know, don't tease me. I don't want to get my
If you
hopes
feel
up.
just that qualified at all, you might try flicking the switch to on.
What'd you think you were gonna see? Animals? Maybe, big iguanas?
Humor provides some levity to balance out the tense and thrilling scenes. Humor is not unwanted. To call it oxygen, something that is vital, something that you need constantly, is a little worrisome to me. Now, we can't take these soundbite-esque rules too seriously without context. Koepp isn't condemning Jurassic World Rebirth to be a quippy, Marvel-style movie with just 3 words. but considering the World Trilogy has spliced some of that Marvel DNA into the DNA of the franchise, it is a bit of a red flag to me. I just hope humor isn't as much of an emphasis as this commandment implies. The third commandment, and the last of the 9 he shared, was
science must be real. You know, all the things that we wanted our movie to be.
Michael Crichton was a brilliant science fiction writer, and really the movies have barely scratched the depth of the science that he does include in his novels. For Crichton's sake, yes, the science must be real, or at least appearing realistic and grounded within the science fiction genre. Obviously, we can't quite bring dinosaurs back from extinction yet, but especially given how Dominion seemingly neglects the mere concept of physics, it's good to have someone at the helm who respects that science matters in your science fiction. What those other 6 commandments are, we might never know, but I thought it would be fun for me to complete the list with rules I would hope apply to Jurassic World Rebirth, and I invite you to share your own 6 commandments in a comment down below. My 4th commandment would be that dinosaurs are animals, not heroes nor villains. Colin Trevorrow infamously referred to the Giga from Dominion as the Joker of the franchise. That statement completely fell flat, but it is indicative of a wrong mindset when it comes to creating dinosaur conflict for your film. Dinosaurs are dangerous, wild animals. You don't have to make them villainous to be a threat. Similarly, dinosaurs also don't need to be heroes. Just let them be animals and create your scenes with that in mind. Speaking of heroes, the same applies to the characters. This is not Marvel or Mission Impossible. Make your characters interesting, 3-dimensional people, not cardboard cutouts of an action hero. Stunts should not replace intelligent dialogue. The original film's main 3 characters were scientists. They had interesting things to say. They were brave and resourceful, but they didn't ride motorcycles along raptors, do rooftop acrobatics, or mind control animals with Jedi mind tricks. My 6th commandment would be, make it scary. My favorite dinosaur scenes of the franchise are not the bombastic fights of 2 giant theropods. It's the tense buildup of scenes like the main road attack, the raptors in the kitchen, and, as a more recent example, the Therizinosaurus in the swamp. Rule 7, one of the few smart things Owen Grady ever said.
They're dinosaurs, wow enough.
We don't need hybrids or mutants. You have roughly 200 million years worth of dinosaur species to choose from, and heck, as seen with Dimetrodon, you can go back even further in time. It is a treasure trove of creatures to choose from. I just don't understand how anyone can look at the entirety of prehistory and think, I can't work with this. There's nothing interesting here. I need to come up with something myself. My rule 8 is probably going to be my most controversial rule. Less is more. Don't cram in as many species as possible like Jurassic World Dominion did. The more species you have, the less screen time each individual species gets. Less screen time means less impact. The cameo appearances of Pyroraptor and Quetzalcoatlus, to name only a few, are cool as a standalone clip, but in the movie it's too many animals battling it out for screen time with no real winners. We all have our favorite species that we want to see, but the movie shouldn't be a slideshow of awesome dinosaurs just so we can tick boxes on everyone's most anticipated species lists. My final commandment would be your own movie. Don't overstuff it with nostalgia bait. Easter eggs are fun for us fans, but it quickly feels manipulative. You don't need to remind us of this awesome movie that came before. We know, we're not gonna forget. Reminding your audience that there is a masterpiece they could be watching instead is a risky move. I would say, moving forward, the movie should focus on being their own thing and not shoehorning references into the runtime or trying to follow the exact formula. Thank you so much for watching, liking, subscribing, and until next time, let's just hope we get that trailer soon.